Welcome to Over the Falls podcast, episode 38. This week, we sat down with Andrea Hamilton, who is currently transitioning from male to female. We discussed her journey to this date, the struggles, acceptance, and love for her family and friends. Andrea educated us and definitely holds some key advice for anyone in a similar situation. We touched on transgender women competing in women's sport, which has certainly been a hot topic. Episode 38, part 1, part 2, coming soon. This week's episode is sponsored by Lioness and Ink of Baker Street Tattoo Studio in Aberystwyth. They offer a bespoke tattoo service in a private space with a friendly and relaxed atmosphere. Whether you want a full colour work of art or a simpler fine line piece, they have you covered. You can browse and book any of the one-off flash pieces online and see examples of previous work for inspiration for your own tattoo at www.lionessandink.co.uk. To discuss your tattoo concepts or book a consultation, get in touch via the website or through the socials at Lioness and Ink.
Mic check.
Okay, check. Okay, Andrea, welcome to the show.
Hi, well, nice to be here.
Welcome.
Good.
Welcome.
I want to start with your childhood, if we can.
Okay, my childhood was not what you expect. I knew at 7 I was something wrong with me. I didn't know what it was. I was a bit of a loner. So yeah, it was very, very weird. I was very small for my age. I was picked on a lot. Yeah, so my school years were not the best, if you know what I mean, because I knew there was something wrong inside me, but I didn't know that being transgendered was possible. I didn't even know that it was, you know what I mean, I just didn't feel right in my own body, if you know what I mean. So yeah.
So 7's quite young, isn't it?
Really young.
That's just like my son's age now.
Yeah.
So you knew that early on that you wanted...
Yeah, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know this was all possible. Do you know what I mean? And things were a bit different back then. I grew up in a small village in South Wales. And there wasn't anything really to do a lot there but surf, and then I rode in the BMXs and stuff like that. But I was very much alone. I didn't have many friends, if you know what I mean. So it was just really weird. And then, yeah, very, very difficult childhood I had. Don't get me wrong, my parents were amazing. They worked hard. They did everything they could for us. I got a brother or sister. But it wasn't the most easiest of childhoods, if you know what I mean. And I put them through a lot of pressure as well, my parents, you know what I mean, because when I was young, you start experimenting cross-dressing, you think you're a cross-dresser, because you don't even think that transgenderism is possible at that age. I mean, you don't understand it. It's different back now, obviously, but you didn't have internet. You only had newspapers and stuff like that, and you didn't see anything about it in those days. It wasn't really on the telly. It was all more jokey on the telly. It was all stuff like the Benny Hill, Two Ronnies, stuff like that. So you saw people cross-dress, but you never saw it. So I got caught when I was really young dressed. I'm quite intelligent, and I think, well, I believe I'm quite I must be quite intelligent. I was going to be a store manager.
Definitely
are. But yeah, so when I reached, I got caught cross-dressing by my parents. They took me to a child psychiatrist. There was a mirror, and I just put 2 and 2 together and realised there's someone there, but I didn't want to tell them how I felt inside, so I just blagged my way through it and just said, just something basically the person who was speaking to just said, is it something you're just trying out? And I just said, yeah, it was something I was trying out.
So sorry.
That's all right.
At that point where you were trying on women's clothing or cross-dressing, how did you feel? Like, why... I guess it's really hard for me to understand how you knew that that's the way that you were going, sort of thing.
I don't know. It just made me feel more at ease with myself, but you'd feel the guilt afterwards. You know what I mean? So you dress and you feel guilt afterwards for it. And it wasn't easy. It was like, I'd only get to dress a bit. I never played with makeup, anything like that. My sister was a year younger than me, so I did take some of her clothes occasionally. But it was, just feel with the guilt afterwards. And this was about 9, 10, 12 maybe when I started dressing a bit more.
Did you talk to anyone else about it? Did you confide in anybody?
No, I couldn't confide in anyone. I could not confide in anyone. It wasn't until my 20s, most probably I did tell someone, mid-20s, which is really strange because we grew up in this little village near Cardiff called Lantwick Major, and then we moved to Barry when I was turning 16. And at that time, DJing started kicking off, and I started DJing a bit more, and then I ended up moving down Hastings to DJ and do some other stuff, and then I ended up moving to Brighton. And that's when I started to know that it was possible to transition. Do you know what I mean? But I still didn't know if I was. I just didn't talk to anyone about it. So I had to live this typical male person I was. So I was BMXing in the daytime and then DJing at night. And don't get me wrong, through that I got to do a lot of things that people don't get to do. But it made me more determined to be more masculine. So I competed a lot more on the BMXs. I DJ'd. I played stuff like the Zap Club in Brighton. Do you know what I mean? And back then, Fatboy Slim was just Norman Cook. He was just a normal DJ. He played one night, I played another night. And it was very strange when I look back on it. And then I moved back to Cardiff, just to Barry, to where my parents were, and I just decided then that I've got to give this charade that I'm going to be normal and whatever. And I was still cross-dressing every chance I got, but then I got married. Do you know what I mean? Tried to act normal, and it didn't work. It just didn't happen.
I didn't know you were married.
Oh, it was a long, long time ago.
I'm sure, but no, I didn't know that.
People don't realise how old I am. How old do you think I am, Mez?
In your 40s, I don't know.
I'd say 40s.
I'm 52.
No.
Okay.
52. Which is
Did you
crazy.
feel pressure at a certain time to get married, to live kind of like a typical, quite normal?
Yeah. Yeah,
for
because you
back
don't.
then?
I knew transitioning was possible then, but I felt pressure from my parents, and I don't want to blame the pressure on my parents because they are. Do you know what I mean? They're
Different generation as well.
They're my role models. My dad was born with polio. He just proved to me that you can do anything in life. He taught me that whatever I did in life, I've just got to give 100%, and that's why I became a pro BMXer. I didn't go out to be a pro BMXer. I didn't go out to be a club DJ. I didn't intentionally wanted to become the store manager. It just sort of happened. So yeah, they were a big influence. Yeah, so I did feel pressured into thing. But I remember on the day I thought I got the girl pregnant, so I tried to do the right thing. And I remember my mum saying at the time, "You don't really love her, do you?" And I was like, "No," but I couldn't tell my mum. Do you know what I mean? That's how I was feeling. So this marriage lasted for about 6-7 months, and it was just a whole sham. Then I went to see a doctor afterwards because it was brought up in my divorce hearing that I cross-dressed. So I went to see a psychiatrist, and the first time I said, "Look, I don't feel right in my own body." And she sort of said, she was helpful, the psychiatrist, but not over helpful. Do you know what I mean?
Was that point one of the first times you'd ever admitted that to yourself,
Yeah,
or said it out loud?
100%. But I still didn't know if I was cross-dressed or transgendered.
Yeah.
How did that feel when you actually opened up and said that to someone out loud, when you've been thinking about it for so long?
I bet it was
Right.
huge.
It was huge, and it's even then it was still quite tough because you didn't want to show these things. Because at the time I think if I remember rightly back then, I just turned pro on the BMX. I'd just been competing quite a lot, and then the local shop sponsored me, and then we were in a comp, and there's not enough pros had turned up, and I'd been winning B group comps a lot, so they said, "You got to turn pro." And I was just like, so that's how I turned pro. But yeah, the pressure on me, the relief was good, but at the same time it was still that part that was niggling me, because what I used to do was I used to ride the bikes in the day and then go in the night and then secretly go and cross-dress. You know what I mean? I feel guilty and bad about it, and it was horrible looking back on it. And then what happened was I then wanted to go out dressed. I felt wanting the need to go out dressed. So the first place you went back then was gay clubs, but it was very hard because I DJ'd all the gay clubs anyway, so I was known my male side.
Oh, right.
And then the weirdest thing is I found out about a fetish club. Now, fetish clubs is where a lot of cross-dressers originally went. So I started going to this cross-dressing club, And this is my dad again, bringing out the best in me again. Yet again, I end up DJing this club and help running this club. So, yeah. So then it got to the point where I was trying to lead this double life where I was basically riding the bikes in the day, having my day job, which was a fabricator welder, because I had to be like masculine, do you know what I mean? DJing at nights, and then occasionally, like twice, 3 times a week, going off to go and DJ this fetish club or put these fetish clubs on in Bristol and stuff like that. And the two worlds sort of collided at once one time, because I don't know if you've been to Bristol a lot, you know Motion nightclub?
Yeah.
It used to be a skate park.
Yeah,
It used to be
okay.
skate and ride, Motion skate park, skate and ride. So a guy who owned it got really friends with the person that I run the fetish club with. And then we suddenly were doing these fetish clubs out there as well. And it was just like, I was being really careful because they didn't collide. I think people knew back then, they just thought I was a cross-dresser. So they collided and, yeah, we're still crossing over. And what happened was, then I was just spending more and more time, taking time off my day job just to be at home cross-dressing. And I was with this girl, Susie, who was, I mean, me and her are very close now. And she was originally from this area. She was from Cardigan, and she ended up moving down with me into Cardiff. And yeah, she used to visit the clubs with me, and we used to have a good time. But I wasn't right in myself, and I was spending more and more time at home cross-dressing, not going to my day job. I lost interest in riding a bit because I didn't feel like it was me.
Did you feel lonely then? I'm getting a sense. Was it like a lonely place to be because you weren't who you wanted to be? Did you feel on your own, although you had all these people around you?
I don't know. I most probably was lonely, but yeah, I think I was. I just felt like a fraud.
Oh, okay.
You feel like you're a fraud because it's like
Yeah.
you're giving 100% to your day job. And yeah, again, my day job at the time I started off as a normal fabricator welder. I was a foreman and I was doing one-offs. And it was really good because they started to get me to work through the night and just do these one things so I get piecework. And then I'd be able to dress in the daytime and nobody knew. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I wouldn't say, I sort of was lonely, but I wasn't because I had Susie. So she allowed me to dress to a degree, but I pushed her too far sometimes. And then we got to the Millennium. I basically DJ'd that night. I played 3 clubs that night. I came home from it. I just told her straight, I can't live this lie anymore. I was living a lie. And she just talked me then into moving to a family which was down near Cardigan, and I moved there and I started living full time from then. But it was different back then being trans. It was a lot more different. You wouldn't get hormones straight away. You had to live full time. So I lived about a year and a half, and then I ended up moving to Aber on my own. And I was living full time as a woman. And I think, yeah, that would have been like 2002, I think, up to 2002.
Right.
And then me and my parents didn't really get along that well. They struggled with it, which is understandable, but they were far away. And I didn't have the network or the friends around me at the time to deal with it. And like I said, the internet was quite new, so things were coming out and stuff and that. And because of it all, I stopped transitioning because of my parents. And yeah, so like my old life came back into place. 'Cause I thought I'd never DJ again. I thought that was it. I then Scholars, where Scholars is, I started working for Craft. And I started working as a bike manager because I knew about bikes. And then I walked into Scholars where they all used to go after work, and I bumped into a guy who used to DJ. He ran it, and he said to me, "Will you DJ again?" I was like, "Oh no, I've given up. I'm too old now. I can't be DJing." And,
Never too old to DJ.
Yeah. And then from that, he goes, "I was just taking over a new venue," and he taught me into it. So I ended up DJing again, Harley's and Scholars, and then that led to the other places. So yeah, so then I lived a life for years. I was just like, gone through every bar. I'd gone through Yoko's to then Pier, and I was still back in Harley's, and then, do you mean it just exploded?
So when you said you like stopped transitioning, what do you mean by stopped? As in like, do you take like
No, you didn't take medication
or anything like that?
No, back then you couldn't take medication. You had to live full time. I was due to be signed off. I used to have to go to London every 6 months. I was just about to be signed off to start taking hormones.
Okay.
And
Right, okay. So you had to live as a woman, dress as a woman,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
after a certain duration, you could go to London and then potentially
You
get the
get the
medication?
hormones, yeah. So yeah,
Right, got
so
you.
obviously times are different now, which
Yeah.
I'll get to in a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, the mental health side of it that you go through, this whole thing, is the guilt, the things you question yourself. Do you know what I mean? So then I tried living normally as a male, and the trouble is I throw myself into relationships and all sorts, and it wasn't always the best thing. I had 3 suicide attempts myself, but for the outside world, everyone thought I was good, I was normal, I was happy. But I wasn't, do you know what I mean? And I always kept that Cardiff lifestyle away from when I moved here. I didn't want to be known for it. And then it came out as a pro BMXer because someone had come to uni here and they announced it. I was like, oh Christ, here we go again. Do you know what I mean? And it's you do feel like your old life's catching up with you. But I'm not going to moan because it's, do you know what I mean? I did a lot of amazing things BMX, and I got to see a lot of things. So I carried on DJing. And having just these breakdowns, constantly having breakdowns, failed 3, 4, 5 failed relationships. I'm not going to slate my relationships because I was the worst person in them. My last relationship, I had a stepson that I still consider my son. So I'm not going to slate them. I was bad for going into relationships knowing I wasn't happy within myself. You know
Was it all women who you were getting in the relationships with?
Yeah, I've never been with a male, which is really, really strange. I mean,
Okay.
it's not about sexual orientation or whichever you are. It's about you just feel like you're in the wrong body.
Got you.
Yeah, they're
Got you.
two separate.
So gender and sexuality are two
Yeah,
different
because
things.
I put my
That's
hand
fine,
up.
that's fine.
Yeah, I wanted to ask these sorts of questions.
You can ask
because-
me any question.
So even after transitioning, you still find females attractive, I suppose, but you feel like you're a female. Well, you are a female now, transitioning.
I'm still transitioning, so
Yeah.
I'm pre-op. So I've been on now hormones for just over 2 years.
Okay.
I don't have any real sexual orientation. I can see why people would fall in love with the person rather than
course.
the sexual. And
Of course.
I'm not in a good enough place within myself to not waste time, but have a relationship until I'm my full true self.
Until
Do
you
know what I
love
mean?
yourself.
I get
Some
that.
people say you
I
can't
get that.
love someone else
That's
until
true.
you love yourself.
That is true, but I do like myself. I do like myself now. I think.
Good.
That's really good.
I think people say that I inspire a lot of people because I don't hide away being trans.
Definitely.
First question people ask, "Oh, are you still in Halfords?" Well, I'm a store manager. Why would I throw that away?
Why would I leave?
That's the first question people ask. So seriously,
Yeah.
that is just like, why are you asking that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to throw it away. But I do know a lot of trans people that hide away, and it's not the way to be.
Do you think it's good? Sorry to jump in then.
That's
I
all
mean, it's an incredibly brave thing to do, especially like
It
a
is.
small town.
Yeah,
Do you
but
find that
yeah, I mean, when
a
I
bit small-minded people maybe, or
There-
not?
There's a few. Years ago, when I first tried doing it, it was very hard. Now it's so much easier. I mean, there's a lot more gone to why I came out. So the best thing to do is like, I basically, before COVID, I worked my arse off. I was DJing 6 nights a week. I was DM, just becoming store manager at the time. So I was DM and store manager in between. And I was DJing 6, 7 nights a week. I was putting DJs in all the venues. I was putting on nights in the Angel, hiring out PA equipment, lighting and stuff, just so I didn't have to deal with myself. Do you know what I mean? It was a way that I could mentally cope with my day job and not have to stop going for my work. So I never took sick days. I made a rule to myself I wouldn't take sick days because it'd be so easy to sit at home and cross-dress.
So you keep yourself so busy
Yeah.
that it would be like almost like a distraction then,
Yeah,
because you just keep yourself
100%.
so busy that you don't
100%.
have time to dwell on anything or think about anything like that.
And then when COVID hit, I had all this money's worth of equipment. You know what I mean? I had loads of thousands, and we sold it. I just sold a lot of it off. I realised what was going to go on. I didn't even think about transition then. I tried to buy all these toys. I bought a motorbike, I bought a speedboat, a boat, do you know what I mean? Started scuba diving again, so I bought all this stuff for scuba diving. And I bought all these toys and I was trying to distract myself again. Yeah. And it was, as time went on, I just realised that this isn't me, do you know what I mean? And then, lucky enough with COVID, the shop was still open because we were That's basically emergency
Yeah, like
services.
essential.
For essential.
Yeah, I remember it being open actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a good time. So I had all these toys and I just realised I wasn't still happy. And then reached my 50th birthday and I said to myself, I got fat, I hated myself. And I just decided, right, we're going to climb the 3 peaks that you do. Do you know what I mean? Everyone wants to do that before they reach 50th. Snowdon, Cadder, and
Penavan, isn't it? Is it Penavan?
Penavan, yeah. And I climbed them, and there's 3 of us up there. And I sat on top of Snowdon, and I just everyone was coming to me, come on, we'll go down now. And I was like, no, I'm not ready yet. I just sat there, and I just realised, if I don't do this now for myself, I'm never going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt very alone with it, and I was scared, so I didn't tell anyone, and I did something I would never recommend anyone ever even considers doing. It's not the right thing to do, and it's not the right way to go about it. I self-medicated. I basically got medication from abroad, so I got hormones, testosterone blocker. That's how bad I felt. Wow. And I knew what I was doing. I went for the first year self-medicating, but hid it from everyone. I tried to wait at least 2 months before because I wanted to make sure my stepson had turned and had done his exams before I had to come out. So I realised it'd be a year after first taking hormones. So I'd spoken to, by this time, this would be my ex-store manager about it, and he was I hadn't told him I had come out. I wasn't taking them. I just kept it quiet. And then after the first, I think we got to about August, and I did start to tell a few people, do you know what I mean, very close friends, what was going on, but I kept it very quiet. And a lot of people were shocked. They were like, oh my God, you're joking? And I'm like, no, it's serious. That's how I feel. That's how I've always felt. And it was very scary. Do you know what I mean?
I bet.
Because in my head, I'm thinking, right, that's it. I'm not going to DJ anymore. I'm not going to ride bikes. You know what I mean? My job could be affected. Forget scuba diving and all that. Do you know what I mean? This ain't going to happen. Do you know what I mean? So this is going to ruin me. But I was prepared for it. I was prepared to lose everything. And even my parents, to a degree, it was just like, oh, I don't know. How am I going to tell them? And I didn't at first, and it was really hard. But I was prepped in my own head again that this time they weren't going to stop me transition. I had to do it for myself. Mm-hmm. So from then, end of February, I was badly attacked outside Bar 46. I was trapped in my car. I nearly lost my right eyesight.
I remember seeing your
it
injuries
was horrible. It was horrible.
Is this like a transphobic attack?
No, because I wasn't even out. So right. Nobody knew. People were getting instincts. They were starting to ask questions because my nails were quite long. My hair was growing. I don't think it was trans, I think. And I still don't know. I'm still waiting for it to go to court. It's been dragged on. I was attacked, and then I had to go to hospital, and so I had to disclose to the doctor. I had to say, look, I'm on hormones. So I was on, tell them, and it was a difficult time then, because then all the doubt comes in, because you're like, oh, do you mean, did I get attacked because I was trans? Did this person know I was trans? And I was trapped in a car, and do you know what I mean, like I said, I nearly lost my sight. If you saw the photos, it's just horrible. And I questioned everything. I nearly cut my hair off, stopped taking hormones and all sorts. And then, lucky enough, the doctor was good enough that he spoke to my GP. My GP then registered me with Welsh Gender Care Service. So then from that day on, we went, it took about a month. Then I went back onto hormones the right way, which was through the doctor, which is the right way. Never, ever, ever, anybody, please don't self-medicate. It's the worst thing you can do. You don't know what you're putting into your body. You're not keeping an eye on your blood levels, your testosterone, all these levels you've got to worry about. So please, never, ever does anybody do that. It's not the right way to do it.
Could I just ask at this point, what is the first? Because I've got a question about like every step or the journey. What's the first thing you need to, if you're going to transition, if you know you're in the wrong body, what's the first thing?
Speak to your doctor. Nowadays, speak to your doctor. Your doctors can help you in all the right directions. They'll put you in contact with Gender GP, well, in Wales, Gender GP, and they will help you to try to go the right way. It takes a long time.
Yeah, and what about the fear? Because of that unsurety and all that confusion.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think it become so built up with me 50 odd years. I was 51 at that time, and I was just turned 51. And this was in March, and in May, I got fed up with all the questions. I mean, I remember I was playing the brasserie, which is part of Pier. I was playing the brasserie, and the bouncer and I've known this bouncer, the main bouncer now. I'm not going to name names. But he was being really funny with me. He was going oh, look at your nails. He goes, if you grow tits, I'm going to walk away from you. And I was just like, if only you knew. Do you know what I mean? And then a few weeks after that, I took all of the people out from work. We went for play Skittles in Pier and a few drinks and play pool. And I was getting phone calls off everyone. So-and-so's asking, are you transitioning? What do I say? These were close friends that knew about it. And I was like, just tell them to come and speak to me. Do you know what I mean? And it was just then I made that decision. I went to see my parents straight away, and I was in tears. I was in floods of tears, because they don't tell you there's a lot of side effects to hormones you don't know about. So I went to see my parents, and I was in tears, and I just said, look, I'm going to lose you, but you need to know that I am transitioning. And they go, well, we guessed, and look, we made mistakes last time, and do you mean it wasn't right? And then the end of May, beginning of June, they come down here. They come down here once a year with a camping club, and with their camper van, they stay on the rugby field. So, first time ever, I got to spend time with them after that. But before that happened, after I'd been down to see them, I came back, and so I rang Pier. I said, Lee, I've DJed for you over 20 years. That rumours are true. I am transitioning. I got told that it wouldn't make any difference. I had to do the same with Bar 46, because I was there as well, to run them. And they were always going like, no, you still DJ. Now, the most maddest thing that just blew me away was, I thought, right, how do I tell people? Because this time I didn't have any support groups. I had friends that were transitioning up North England, which I was going to quite a lot, places up there to see people. But I didn't have any support here. So I was like, right, how do I come out and just get it over with? Because I'm dreading this now, because in my head, like I said, I'm through with DJing, I'm through with this, I'm through with that. I'm going to lose a lot of friends. So I just came out on Facebook. I just put it on Facebook. Let's stop all the rumours true. Yes, I am transitioning. Something I've been thinking about for a long time. And yes, I am transitioning from male to female. And it was just like, it was such a relief. And then the messages started coming in. And they were, I'm going to cry in a minute. Sorry, until you take hormones, you don't understand what it's like for a woman. And I was just crying, because the love, the respect. I mean, there's still people ringing and going like, you've been raped on Facebook. It's like, no, that's true. That's real. That is real.
I remember the post.
Yeah, and I was crying over it, because I had like 134 well-meaning messages, and I was just like, wow, that's just crazy. It was just like, whoa.
Faith restored.
That is amazing. And also, what an incredible relief, because you obviously thought it was going to be so negative, or it seems like you thought it was going to be so negative.
It was, God, just reading those comments. And then my mum rang me, and she said, I was worried about you up there. She said, but after seeing those comments, she said, I can see you around good friends.
That's nice. It's a relief for them as parents then, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was just like, because I think I came out to my work at my area manager, about 3 weeks before I came out there. And after I was attacked, I came out to my other area managers, because most of them are down South Wales, so they don't really come up here this very often. So 20 odd managers in my area, and I came out. And the reason I did that then was because it was not long after I attacked, and it was my way of empowering myself and realising that I need to do this for the right reasons. So yeah, I'm crying a bit now. Sorry.
It's all right.
Absolutely.
But
fine.
yeah, it was very emotional to come out, but it was
the right
it's
thing.
almost like sometimes it's the right. It was definitely 100% the right thing, but it's like, whoa, did that really happen? Do you mean it feel like an out of body experience? But then you're like, oh, what do I do now? Do you know what I mean?
Do you have regrets of not doing it sooner then?
No. This is the one thing people ask me all the time. I wasn't ready back then.
Okay.
I hadn't lived the life I lived. I wasn't in a secure job as I am now. I wouldn't have the friends around me. I wouldn't. And it's 100%. I would not regret. I'm glad I didn't do it when I didn't go through it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been alone. I'd have been lonely. But now I've got friends in every direction. Do you know what I mean? And I feel the time's different now. The acceptance is different now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's groundbreaking because I'm the first one in Halfords to be so high up to transition, and it's like they feel a bit of pressure on it as well, but it's in a good way. It's not in a bad way, if you know what I mean. It's a relief. Yeah, it's just like crazy.
It's the constant rolling change, isn't it? It's incredible. I've got a question about how your employment reacted when you came out and you were open about your transition. Did they change how they spoke to you? Did they?
No.
It's just been.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's all been plain sailing because there's been a few little things, but it's difficult for them. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not a trans person that's going to go, you have to call me female. Do you know what I mean? I don't care about pronouns. You've known me, like majority of people have known me for years. So I don't care, do you know what I mean, if you're going to call me he, she. Do you know what I mean? It's not done maliciously. You're going to make mistakes. People are going to do it. And so that's why I'm different from other trans people, because that doesn't matter to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I slowly do into the team now. If they do, I do correct them now because they need to do it. But then I'm still on a journey myself. I'm going through voice training at the moment, which is really hard. Just to learn to speak more feminine, because I think now I look female, but I don't sound it, which is really weird and really hard. But yeah, no, it's my manager at the time, before I came out, he was a bit worried for me. Do you know what I mean? He's a really nice guy, but he was a bit worried, and everything that we were worried about, we spoke about. Do you know what I mean?
Good.
It's not happened. So yeah, I've had one or two customers being a bit funny, but nothing to worry about, nothing to care about. Do you know what I mean?
Good.
I remember the first time I went into the bar and I did it, I was nervous because it was just like I've known all these students for the last few years and they've known me as male, so I didn't know how they'd take me. And after the first 2 weeks, the love, the respect, the acceptance from the students. As a male DJ, I was good. I could mix, I could do mean. But the first thing everyone said, you look so much more happier, you look so much more relaxed, do you know what I mean? And I was getting photographs all the time with them, do you know what I mean? And it was weird, it was strange, the acceptance level. Because we were there, and I remember like the third night, because we opened up the week before the Freshers Week, and the Freshers Week on the second night, you could see them all looking at me and trying to work it out, do you know what I mean? And they were like, and by this time I hadn't put my name up on the screens or anything, do you know what I mean? That came a bit later, and it was just like, I got to that point in the night where it was just like, right, yeah, you all know me differently from before. And I just whacked on Shania Twain, Man, I Feel Like a Woman, and just like the whole place
Perfect.
Perfect. And it was just like, it was very surreal. But yeah, even going back before that, I suppose I did the ABBA show last year, and I closed that, and that was the first time doing that trans, which was like weird as well. So yeah, so the acceptance level has been like blown me away.
I'm so happy
absolutely
so good to hear.
Blown me away. It's made me think. I used to think, do I wish I did this earlier? But like then I realised, no, because my life is, I wouldn't be a store manager. I wouldn't have got the respect from the people I've got now. I wouldn't have the friends around me. Yeah. And I would have lost my parents back then, whereas now I've got a relationship with them and a bond with them.
Amazing.
Because after I came out, they came down in June, and then I spent more time and spoke to, when I used to go and see them. When they lived in Cardiff, I used to go down after first trying to transition, and I'd spend 10, 15 minutes with them. I'd go 3 hours drive and then spend 10, 15 minutes and bugger off. And I actually sat down with them and spoke, and that's where my name came from as well, because we spoke about it, and I was like, I don't know what to call myself. Do you know what I mean? And they would go, so I said, what would you call me? Because obviously my name was Andrew, and they said, I would have called you Andrea. I said, how do you feel about that? And that's how I got the name. And it was just easier as well, because it's just one letter difference, isn't it?
It's a really nice story of how you decided on the name, though, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, 100%. And
it also includes them heavily.
Yeah, 100%.
Brilliant. It's fitting. Yeah.
Very fitting.
Yeah, definitely.
I never used to go and see them much at Christmas. I used to go there, pop in, go. And last Christmas I went there. They gave me a Christmas card with daughter on, and I
oh my goodness!
I broke
Stop
down.
it, man!
I broke down for 20 minutes. I was crying for 20 minutes. Lucky enough, I hadn't made up any makeup on or anything. So yeah, but yeah, it's the acceptance now. So no, I don't regret it, and I'm glad I waited to this time, and I look forward to what's around the corner. I'm supposed to be signed off for surgery, I think. Next month is my first sign off, and then I get another month or two before I get signed off again. So I have the 2 sign offs, then I get recommended to a thing, and then I decide whether I'm going to pay privately or on the NHS. I don't know yet for basically what you call bottom surgery. So I don't know. I just take now each day as it comes. You know what I mean, I'm lucky to be living my life.
Of course,
I'm very close now to being able to use my female voice, but I don't feel comfortable enough yet. But like I said, I feel I look female. My body is female, apart from what's between my legs, but that'll soon be sorted out.
Yeah.
And I can still get to do everything I wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? I've scuba dived 5 times in the last week. Do you know what I mean? And I still...
Well, that's when I saw you. You were either going in or just finished.
Just coming out. So it's just like, I don't hide away.
What, you don't have to answer this, but you did say we could ask. But I mean, what does that surgery actually involve?
So, do you want me to go into detail with
it?
You will be crossing your legs. So, first of all, they remove your ball sack.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your balls are gone. So that's what produces your testosterone. There's 2 different types of surgery then. You have I don't know the full names of them. One's rhinoplasty and one's... So you can either have 0 depth or you can have full depth.
Right, okay.
So it looks the part, so you can imagine you go like that, go like crossing your legs.
One you can use, one you can't, I suppose.
Yeah, that's the truth of it. And I must be going for the one you can't use, because I don't care about sexual pleasure. It's more about being at one with my body. My breasts are real. They are 100% real. They are all. Do you know what I mean? They are all. Yeah. So just don't feel free to ask any questions. But you might be a bit squirmish with some of it.
Yeah.
No, it's
quick
fine.
5-minute break after that one. I think.
We're ready to be educated. Can I ask a little bit about the medication as well, about the hormones?
Yeah.
Is in like the way it makes you feel? Is it like estrogen? I don't know anything about it.
Okay, so you get there's 2 different types. You have a testosterone type blocker.
Yeah.
When I first started, it was a thing called spirolactone, which is not good for your liver. And then you take estrogen. At the time, I was taking pills. Now I have a pro-stop injection, which is every 3 months, which blocks the testosterone. And then I have HRT gel, so we just put it on every morning, every evening.
HRT gel, what's
that?
So
basically HRT, so hormone replacement therapy. It's estrogen basically. So any women that are going through the change, they'll take it as well.
Gotcha.
Right? So it's basically that.
Will the testosterone blockers stop post-op? Or is there a sort of a weaning off period?
Post-op, you don't need the testosterone.
All right, because of the testicles, you say.
So basically, if I had my way now, I'd have them move straight away. But they don't like it because I would pay to have it done. So I don't have to have those injections. But they say no, keep it just in case you need the skin. So it's just
all right. So you take the hormone blockers and estrogen, and then after, so post-op, you don't need to take any.
You don't need to take estrogen.
Got you. So it's not the blockers because you've obviously removed the testicles. But then it's the estrogen.
Just to keep your hormone level. So you're measured in. I don't know the full details. This is how stupid it is, because it's really funny, because I'm part of trans sport groups and stuff like that and that community, but it's really funny because like the gay community, the LGBTQ+ and all that, they feel like they struggle to fit in with mainstream. I'm the opposite. I feel struggle to get in with them. I feel like a lost sheep because I've been in the mainstream for so long. And it's the acceptance of being in the mainstream as well. So, yeah, so eventually, your testosterone drops and then you stay on the hormones.
You touched on the sport thing there. What do you mean you're involved in the transgender sport stuff? Is that what you still...
No. So, but when we transition, support groups.
Sports.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't compete in any sports now. I used to, but I'm not going to compete anymore. I've proved myself. I don't need anything to prove now.
No.
I did. Obviously, I competed in SWCC, a lot of the triathlons. It's not triathlons, the time trials.
Oh, okay.
Done a lot of 100-mile bike rides and all sorts. I've got nothing to prove anymore. I don't need to do that. I exercise now for my own self, just to get my BMI down, because it's the biggest worry, because I was always muscly. I get my BMI down low enough, but because it's really hard to do, and that's the biggest thing I'm doing at the moment, is just making sure that everything is right, so when I get signed off for surgery, they got no excuse not to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. That's body mass index.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like a really complex question. It's quite a broad question. It's about transgender women competing in women's sports.
It's wrong.
Okay.
I do believe that. I'm going to get my head mostly subsidised over it. There's a lot of things I don't believe in, but I think it's wrong for us to be able to compete at that level. We made the choice when we transitioned. Yeah, a lot of people will say it's not really our choice. We have to do it to be happy. We made that choice. If you want to live that way, don't try and compete in those sports. We had a conversation earlier on that I might end up going back time trialing on the bikes.
Yep.
But I won't race the category. I said you can't put me in the same category as the men. You can't put me in the same category as the women.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that. I totally agree why they do you know what I mean? People kick off about it. But you make the choice. You decide. Because it's only going to stop at pro level. It's not going to stop at anything lower than that. Do you know what I mean? It's only pro level. You've made the choice to transition. You know you're in the wrong body. You've got to make sacrifices, and that's what you do. You know what I mean? That's what you do. No different to what I was going to do with my parents. I was willing to make that sacrifice. Just saying, like, if they don't accept me now the way I am, I'm not going to be accountable for it. And that's the thing, you have to make these, do you know what I mean? You have to make these sacrifices. I lost one of the big venues because of coming out, do you know what I mean, where I was DJing. I'm not going to mention names because that's just wrong to do it, and I'm not going to do it. But you make these sacrifices. It's our choice to do it. Nobody's putting a gun to our head and saying, do you know what I mean, you have to do it. You have to be happy within yourself. But yeah, for trans people to compete in the sport on a pro level, it's just wrong.